Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Bertemu anda lagi dalam satu lagi video DWIBAHASA. Dan video ini dia ada kaitan dengan video pengangkutan awam yang telah kami terbitkan tempoh hari. Ia berkaitan tentang kami mengkaji satu kenyataan yang orang Malaysia tak gunakan pengangkutan awam sepenuhnya. Jadi kalau anda belum tengok video itu, anda boleh pergi ke laman YouTube Soya Cincau English untuk tengok versi Bahasa Inggeris dan Soya Cincau Bahasa Melayu untuk tengok versi Bahasa Melayu.
And I mean, the video did really well, right? I did not expect it to do so well, and we got over like 500 plus comments. Even on the LTA episode that we published after that, there was a whole bunch of comments there also. So what we're going to do with this video is that we are going to try and respond to them, and we're going to try and categorize them because you guys gave a lot of good comments and a lot of good examples of things that maybe we can do to improve. So Anik, what have you done with the comments?
Jadi saya telah tengok dekat semua komen-komen yang anda telah turunkan. Jadi saya ambil 100 komen yang paling tinggi, yang paling banyak orang like ke dengan reply, dan saya kategorikan ikut kategori-kategori yang saya wujudkan yang ada kaitan dengan sistem pengangkutan awam. Jadi apa yang saya dapati adalah 23% ataupun majoriti menyentuh tentang isu last mile. Last mile ni merujuk kepada macam mana anda pergi ke sistem pengangkutan utama. Dalam kes ni adalah train. Contohnya ada orang yang naik bas untuk pergi ke stesen train yang berhampiran, dan ada juga orang yang memandu ataupun naik motor parking dekat stesen untuk pergi ke tempat kerja.
Yeah, and that was like one of the main things that I was facing also, because there was just no bus station near me. So I had to walk 20-30 minutes to the train station just so I could get on the train. And you can see a lot of people just driving to the train station. And if you have to drive to the train station, does it really work? Because like this comment here, Miko Jojo. So she says, "Hi Rory, I live in Puchong too. I've worked 15 years in Cyberjaya, so I got my house in Puchong thinking I'll retire in Cyberjaya, and then I got retrenched. Now I work in KL City Centre. Last year, before everything happened, once I had to go office, travelling was still manageable, but this year is driving me nuts." Driving me nuts, get it? I was taking LRT all the way, but this year I switched back to driving, which is opposite of what I should be doing. True. And this is because it takes me 25 to 30 minutes to drive to the nearest LRT station, then 1 hour and 15 minutes to ride the train to KLCC. Every day spending 3.5 hours, which is sort of like what my name was, right? And he had to change 2 buses. To 3.75 hours of travelling time simply does not make sense to me. Although it's very costly to drive to office and I have to leave way earlier from home, at least I reach office earlier and I'm being productive rather than sitting and just watching YouTube in the train. That is true. That's exactly what I feel a lot of people, especially in Puchong or suburbs, are feeling, right? They are having this exact same experience where there's just not enough last mile or like feeder systems to the main stations.
Kemudian, isu last mile ni dia ada kaitan yang sangat rapat dengan kerajaan tempatan. Apa yang saya dapati, kita ada Jabatan Perancangan Bandar dan Desa di bawah bidang kuasa Kementerian Perumahan dan Kerajaan Tempatan. Sekarang ni dia punya portfolio dipegang oleh YB Rizal American dan American. Kementerian ini dia ada undang-undang Akta 172, iaitu Akta Perancangan Bandar dan Desa 1972. Jadi kalau anda pergi ke laman web kementerian ni kan, tengok dekat bahagian objektif akta ni, dia tulis itu mengawal pembangunan agar bersifat seragam, selesa dan selamat dalam aktiviti guna tanah.
Wait, so what you're saying is that this last mile problem isn't like a prasarana or like public transport company problem?
Tak sepenuhnya.
It's like also the government's issue lah.
Ya, sebab tu prasarana nak bina train, dia kena consult kepada kementerian ni lah. Nak minta lampu hijau, boleh tak kita bina dekat sini? Kalau nak bina, apa yang kena ada? Macam tu.
Okay. So if that's the case, there's even like there's even a body that's overseeing this. So why are they not doing anything, right? Like exactly like this like KT Elite says, right? If you need to drive to the train to get to a train, that means there's something wrong with the public transport or the whole infrastructure itself. In this case, it seems like the infrastructure. Yeah, it turns out the government also has a hand to play in this. They're not doing their part to sort of make sure that this isn't an issue. So we can't fully blame like Pasarana or the public transport people also.
Ya. Lepas tu kan 10% ada sentuh pasal punctuality, frekuensi dengan reliability.
Yes.
Untuk bas, punctuality dengan frekuensi tu saya faham lah. Sebab bas dia memang kongsi jalan dengan kereta, motor dengan lori.
Yes.
Tapi train macam
Yes.
mana boleh tak punctual? Sebab track tu anda satu je yang guna. Kalau komuter tu boleh faham lah sebab dia ada train KTM Intercity. Ini dia ada kaitan dengan reliability lah juga. Train asyik rosak.
True. But there's also, you know, that famous the famous thing is that the KTM train is just horribly out of sync with whatever intervals there was. Like, for example, KF Win here says, I tried taking KTM from Kampong Batu to KL Central yesterday. What made me pissed off was the train is in intervals of 1 hour per train. That is no different at all 10 years ago. So, Mr. KTM CEO, please try yourself your own train service. Exactly. He should take the train to his office every single day, then he'll understand why people don't want to wait 1 hour to take KTM.
Memang tak.
So like, even though you're right, they do share, you know, the line with others services, but 1 hour intervals doesn't seem like it's running optimally, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it should be 15 minutes, 20 minutes max, right? And yeah, you know, I have waited an hour and a half last time when I used to take KTM to Mid Valley, right? 1 hour to 1.5 hours. You wait, the train comes, the train is full. You cannot get on.
Daripada KL Central kan.
And then the train leaves, and then you have to wait for the next train. You don't know how long that's going to be also. So yeah, so it's the same problem.
Okey, seterusnya 9% sentuh isu keselamatan dan kemesraan kemudahan kepada orang kelainan upaya. Lepas saya baca komen-komen anda yang turun kat video tu, baru saya perasan, betul ke? Betul tak? Macam betul juga sebab kita punya facility pengangkutan awam macam tak mesra. Contoh saya pergi kan, kalau anda pergi dekat stesen LRT Hang Tuah, ada satu lift dekat situ. Lift tu rosak tau. Rosak, dan ada orang dah buat aduan dekat Facebook Pasarana 23 minggu yang lalu. Setakat video ni rakam 23 minggu lalu. Dia kata kami akan hantar pihak ops untuk tengok.
Okay, so to be fair, most of the train stations that I see, that I visit, there are lifts, which is good. Like, having that level of accessibility at the train station, I think is good. But if it's not properly maintained, like in this case, the freaking thing hasn't been repaired in 23 weeks, then cannot lah. Like, what's the point of having the lift there if it doesn't work?
Perlu diingatkan yang ini sekurang-kurangnya 23 minggu.
Oh yeah, at least, right, minimum. And it's still not fixed. Like, that's ridiculous. But you know, Kia here also brought something up. So on my journey to the train station, there was no walkway, there was no pathway. I was walking on the side of the road, and then I had to cross like storm drains and stuff. And the way that I knew that was the route that everybody was taking was because there's like already a well-worn path through the grass, through like there's even like a little dent in the barrier, so that's obviously where people are crossing, you know, because they have nowhere else to walk. And Kia says, speaking of accessibility, we have to bear in mind that all of these issues are for able-bodied people. The facilities at our public transport hubs are not disabled people friendly at all. Escalators and lifts are constantly in disrepair, with no other way to access trains without walking up the stairs. At least we are able to dangerously make our way over by walking. Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't think I thought of that when I was walking through there, right? That like, how is someone in a wheelchair, or even someone who has crutches, or like needs like a sort of cane to walk, right? Like, how are they ever going to do that? Like, it's impossible. We don't even need to touch on the train, right? How do we even get to the train station in the first place? Like, it's so not OKU friendly that it's ridiculous.
Again, ini ada kaitan dengan last mile lah. Pengangkutan perancangan, kena ada walkway. Kemudian 3% cakap pasal cakupan pengangkutan awam tak sampai ke tempat mereka. Coverage untuk public transport ni lah tak ada. Yang ni saya tak boleh nak tolong sangat, kecuali anda boleh hantar aduan rasmi lah. Lepas tu dapatkan bukti yang pihak penyedia servis ni terima anda punya aduan dan sentiasa follow up.
Yeah, I saw a whole bunch of comments where it's like they were complaining that the train stations are in locations that have nobody, which is probably true because those are probably new development areas, right? But why you also not serving the people who have been living in these areas for so long, right? It obviously is probably a town planning or infrastructure issue. Maybe the roads, like for example PJ roads, are just too small, right? Like they cannot access it properly. But then build proper walkways lah, get covered walkways, or you know, allow some other form of last mile mobility to get them to their homes, to and from the train stations. Like, I think that's That's a minimum, right?
Kemudian yang terakhir, 3% juga ada cakap tentang aplikasi Pulse. Kemudian dia punya fungsi route planner dengan live tracker. Inilah halangan pertama kami bila kami nak mulakan cabaran pergi ke pejabat gunakan pengangkutan awam. Aplikasi app dekat Pulse ni dia tak responsif. Nak buka aplikasi pun dah blank screen, tak boleh nak create account baru. Tapi benda yang saya nak puji, dia app Pulse ni dia ada live tracker lah. Sekurang-kurangnya untuk bas yang saya nak ambil ada live tracker. Jadi ia memudahkan saya untuk rancang perjalanan saya. Taklah saya tunggu dekat bus stop terlalu lama.
Yeah, but the live tracker, the problem is it's not on every system, right? It's not on every train, not on every bus, and that doesn't make sense, especially since the trains were recently updated. They're like new. The buses, how hard is it to put a live tracker? Just put an air tag there or something, you know.
Semua orang boleh.
Right? You have that technology. I'm pretty sure you have that technology. Like for example, Chef, is that how I say your name? I'm sorry. Chef Shuib, he says, I agree with Rory, it's 2022, we should have a tracker and real-time updates on buses and trains. Exactly! All the big metropolis cities that I visit, metropolis, wait, is that Superman city or is that... Basically all these big cities, I've been to Tokyo, I've been to New York, right? You have live trackers or at least accurate real-time updates on estimated time of arrivals for the train. Like if there's a delay, it will tell you how many minutes delayed. If it's on time or if it's early, it will tell you how many minutes on time or how many minutes early. Like that's the bare minimum lah for 2022. You can track everything. You can even track people nowadays with the amount of data that's being leaked out. Like how can we not be able to track our buses and trains? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Pulse app though, since we published that video, apparently there was an update. And we did go and check it out. It is better now. You don't get stuck at the loading screen for half an hour. You can go in. It's a lot more responsive. But when we were trying the planner function, which is like the main thing that we wanted to use, right? It's still horrible. It still tells you like super inefficient routes. Like in my case, it's still telling me to walk to that same bus station that's just way too far away, and it doesn't make any sense.
Kemudian app rasmi Pulse patutnya adalah yang paling banyak info, paling lengkap dan yang paling intuitif. Dalam komen video kami tu kan, ada yang sarankan guna aplikasi pihak ketiga macam Move It, kemudian Google App. Macam mana orang pihak ketiga ada info yang lagi lengkap daripada penyedia perkhidmatan?
Yeah,
pelik tu.
Exactly. One of the most common things when it comes to like comments about the app was like, oh, you should use Move It. Why are you using Pulse? Ha ha ha. Because Pulse is the official app. Obviously, we're supposed to use that, right? But yeah, Move It's another option. Recently, after that whole thing, I tried Google Maps, and the new Google Maps is also much better. Like the route planning, at least, is much better. The live tracking part still don't have, as usual, right? But the route planning is already much improved compared to when I used to use Google Maps, and definitely better than Pulse. So, like, what gives? Like, honestly, all the data is there. Maybe, a simple way would just be to work with Google Maps. Like, just contact Google and be like, hey, you know what? We're going to work with you. We're going to feed you this API data. Put it into your maps. Make it so that Google Maps is as good here as it is like in, New York or Tokyo. They even have, I'm not sure if it's London or Tokyo, but they even have like train boarding recommendations where they tell you, oh, if you board at the back of the train at this hour, it's less packed, it's less crowded, or you board at the front of the train, it's nearer to the exit that you need to leave at. Like, that is so amazing. Like, how can all these countries do that? Clearly the technology is there. Like, honestly, like, what are you doing, Prasarana? Or I don't know who's responsible for this app. Prasarana, right?
Prasarana.
What are you doing? Go get that information out there, or the government do something about it. It's terrible. Make it better. The technology is there.
Kemudian ada juga anda yang turunkan komen-komen yang menarik. Salah satu saya nak betik adalah tentang cadangan untuk memperkenalkan semula Bas Mini. Dekat situ dia ada bagi tahu lah, Bas Mini ni dia punya benefit dia adalah sebab bas ni kecil, dia boleh pergi ke kawasan-kawasan perumahan sebab jalan-jalan dia sempit. Satu lagi benefit Bas Mini adalah disebabkan dia punya kapasiti dia sikit, jadi kita boleh naikkan frekuensi. Tak adalah sekarang ni kan, kalau anda perasan bas kendalian Rapid KL, Prasarana Rapid KL tu, dia punya seat dia terlalu banyak. Contoh dekat Pasar Seni, kalau bas tu nak gerak, nak kena tunggu orang penuhkan seat dulu baru nak gerak.
True.
Jadi Bas Mini tu ada dia punya potensi dia lah.
Yeah, but the thing that we have to remember about Bas Mini or mini bus is that when they were everywhere, there was not enough regulation, right? It wasn't well regulated. A lot of the buses were in terrible conditions. A lot of the drivers were not vetted or were not regulated properly. And that was one of the main issues that I heard from people who were taking minibuses back then. Obviously, I'm too young for minibus. It's before my time. But you know, if they can regulate it properly, if there is a proper system in place to make sure these buses are safe, to make sure that they are clean and well operating, you know, yeah, we could find something like that. Like that could be an option.
Dulu tak ada pasarana, sekarang dah ada.
True, yeah.
Lepas tu ada juga yang cadangkan disebabkan dia rasa video yang kami hasilkan tu adalah maklumat yang sangat-sangat berguna, disarankan kami untuk masukkan sign language.
Yes, they did. There were a couple of comments to recommended to that we put sign language. Unfortunately, we don't know sign language. We don't know anyone who knows sign language also. But my response to that comment is: Do you or anyone you know have that ability to do that? You can send us an email and we can see what we can do. Yeah, definitely.
Lagi satu komen yang menarik adalah lagi banyak wartawan perlu cuba challenge ni.
Yes, this comment comes from Raja Afifi. More journalists need to do this challenge and record how they experience with public transport. Sure, go ahead. We are only 2 data points, unfortunately, and we don't want to do that anymore already. Like, no, thank you. So that's the thing. Yeah, sure. Go ahead and spread this out. Spread this word out. Maybe the more we talk about it, something might actually happen. I doubt it, but possible.
Ada juga komen yang sarankan kita record waktu perjalanan kita balik dan cubalah komuter.
No, thank you. Yeah, I think our point has been made. I'm not into that. Though if Matne wants to do it, you know, yeah, go ahead. We might do that. But yeah, that's the thing. Everybody knows how terrible commuter is. Everybody knows how terrible this whole system is. So I think the point has been made. But if you just want to torture us by making us take KTM, okay lah, fine. We'll see. Maybe. Not guarantee.
Macam mana dengan orang yang naik kongsikan isu pasal ada orang naik bas TNG dia tak cukup baki.
Yes, so there are comments. This comment comes from Faris Ghaffar. So he says, "Good point, Amin. Good point, bro, Amin." So this was on the LTA episode that we did. One time I see some people have problem taking the Rapid KL bus because they don't have touch and go card or not enough balance in their card. So inconvenient. Macam mana nak top up touch and go? Nak cari tempat nak top up pun susah. Betul. Now it's so bad. Like, yeah, you can get an enhanced touch and go. Is it still on sale or is it still sold out?
Macam tak ada.
That's why I also don't have an enhanced touch and go card.
Ada jual yang daripada scalper lah, RM30.
But it's ridiculous that touch and go is still this system, and all these touch and go systems, they have no pay direct, so you can't even use your e-wallet to do it properly. And this is ridiculous because recently I was in New York for the OnePlus 10T launch, right? And since the last time I was there, they've introduced something called Omni, which is the One Metro New York Pass. Basically, it's a system that lets you use your PayWave enabled card, or PayWave, that's the Visa term. But yeah, basically it's an NFC card that you can just contactlessly tap or touch or like wave it there, and then you can just go through any card, and you don't have to do any reloading because it's all on your credit card or debit card. They even offer prepaid cards that if you want to reload, you can reload, which is super convenient. And then another thing that is good is that they've even managed to work in a way where you can have sort of like season pass benefits. So in New York, you can have the 7-day pass, or I think there's even a 30-day pass. I'm not sure about that, but something like that lah. Where it's like the value of the pass is about 33 rides. So any more than you use, so let's say you use more than 33 rides a day, then it's more worth it to buy that pass. So the way they work with Omni is every time you tap, if you go past 33 taps, every tap that's after 33, you don't pay anything. That's like how have they managed to implement something like that before us? It's ridiculous. Wasn't the whole world just clowning on the US for not having PIN and pay, which is like they're still using swipes, you know, and you have to sign for it when you pay your credit card. So how have they allowed this to happen, and we still don't have it? I guess maybe it's because their subway system is per entry, so they only charge you the cost of entering. So that means no matter how far you travel, as long as you don't leave the station, it's free. It's the same cost, which is $2.75, I think. But We don't have that because we still have the gated thing. But I don't think it's impossible to happen. Didn't we have the whole QR code payment thing back then? What happened to that? Where's the development of that? Why are we still using the most kuno, most archaic technology, which is the touch and go card? Like, honestly, you're not even using that for the roads and tolls anymore, but you still make us use it for public transport? Ridiculous.
Yeah. Sekarang kita ada
Ridiculous.
yang QR warna pink tu apa?
Do it now.
Wait now, guna lah tu.
Yeah. Like, why can't we use the QR code? Like, I don't understand. If you can get RFID to work, why isn't there a possibility to get RFID to work on the public transport as well? Oh my god, I'm stumbling on my words because I'm so annoyed. There is one comment that's, I think, directed to you though, where it's like from NAH Studios, English isn't my strong suit. Please add BM subtitles.
Ada NAH Studio. Kalau anda tengok video ni, pergi ke Soya Cincau Bahasa Melayu punya YouTube channel. Ada video versi Bahasa Melayu. Kat situ ada semua subtitle lah.
Yes. Go and watch that one. Because we were looking for comments to grab. There weren't that many comments on the BM video.
Yeah.
Go and leave comments there. Go and share that video with all your BM speaking friends. Go ahead. Please. It'll make our lives easier and also their lives. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this responding to comments. Unfortunately, we can't respond to everybody's comments because there are more than 550 comments, which we appreciate. I think the support has been incredible, and I hope that this will help make, like, at least be a platform for, you know, people who take public transport to sort of share their grievances and share their observations, because we, like I said, we don't take public transport, so the least we can do is to give you this platform to do it and to share some of these problems.
Dan harap-harap orang kat atas sana pun tengok video ni dan tengok juga keluhan pengguna anda macam mana.
Correct.
Baiklah, sampai di sini sajalah video Dwi Bahasa untuk kali ini. Kalau anda ada apa-apa cadangan yang anda nak kami cuba dalam video Dwi Bahasa ini, anda boleh turunkan dalam ruangan komen ni. Dan jangan lupa untuk share video ni dengan kawan-kawan anda. Selain dekat YouTube, kami juga ada di Facebook, Instagram, Twitter dan di TikTok. Baiklah, saya Hanif dan dia
Rory.
Kita jumpa lagi dalam video Dwi Bahasa yang seterusnya. Bye. Ui.